everyone. Today we're going to look at our composer, May Afterheide. If you were on the live earlier, you'll notice that there were problems. I had the microphone screeching. I'm so sorry about that. And the video wasn't playing. There were several reasons for that. But anyways, we're here. So our composer this week is May Aufderheide, is how you pronounce her name. And if we look at this site is really good. It's called ragpiano.com. And Bill Edwards, he's a great ragtime performer. So I suggest you go and look at this site. Has all this information. He's filled it with so much over the years. It's like an archive. So he also travels around the country and he performs ragtime. He's really, really good. So shout out to Bill Edwards. So May Afterheide. Let's just read some over here. She was one of two siblings born into a somewhat musical family in Indianapolis, Indiana, to John Henry Afterheide, a capable violinist whose career in banking, and Lucy M. Deal. Okay, and then it says she took piano lessons with her aunt in her teens, but always felt allured to ragtime and popular music. Her father remained somewhat dedicated to music, even while running his growing small loan business. With some of his profits, he became a patron of musical arts in Indianapolis. It was likely when she was attending the Pelham Manor finishing school in the East that May set some rags down to paper. When she returned around early 1908, May was determined to have one of her pieces published. With the help of a young itinerant Indianapolis sign painter named Cecil Duane Crabb, who drew a cover and arranged the printing, and one of his friends, future composer Paul Pratt, who did the musical arrangement and engraving. Dusty Rag was released. Crabb did not have the capability of distributing the piece beyond the boundaries of urban Indianapolis. And while May was touring Europe, all refined girls from well-to-do families must, Dusty Rag was initially gathering dust in local music stores. Upon May's return from Europe in 1908, she married young architect Thomas Millikan Kaufman on March 25th. And they settled to the eastern part of the state of Richmond, Indiana. Okay, so here is the first piece we were talking about. I wanted you to research, and I do have two names of people that guessed the composer first, and I'll just give the first name so you're not afraid to comment and give your answer. So the one of the first names was Matt, and the other name is Connor. Okay. So let's take a look at the artist who made the covers, and he also wrote music himself. Let's see. His name was Cecil Duane Crabb, and his peers called him CC. And let me read from here. He was part of the Indianapolis group of young composer friends who contributed just a few, but still significant pieces into the Ragtime Collective. He was the youngest of 4 children born in Indiana to James Newton Crabb and his wife, Sarah Elizabeth Myers. Okay, so I'm going to read down here. During a certain time, Cece befriended May Afterheide, fresh out of finishing school, which was Pelham, and quickly helped her to get the Dusty Rag into print, something she was trying to do over her father's objections. Another new acquaintance, composer Paul Pratt, arranged the piece, and Cecil did the cover art. It was the only piece published by the Duane Crabb Publishing Company. Because of May's determination to have her work in print, her father, John Henry Afterheide, admired the efforts of the teenage trio to the point where he started J.H. Afterheide and Company just to publish their works, and Cece was also rewarded for his efforts in helping her. So here's some other pieces that he did the covers for, and he also wrote music. Classical, written with a K. Okay, so if we go over here, there's another biography. Not as nice, but pretty good information about her life. So here it says who her parents were, and let's go down a little bit. Okay. So in her early 20s, May fit the youthful profile of ragtime composers. She published 19 pieces between 1908 and 1912, 7 of which were financial successes. The New York-based American Musician and Art Journal reported in 1909 that the talented Indianapolis girl is achieving an enviable reputation for her classic rags. So we're going to listen to some artists from YouTube that are really great, and they will be playing some of her pieces. So here is... So this lady is fantastic. She's such a top-notch classical artist, concert pianist. Her name is Nancy Fierro, and you have to go to her site, subscribe, and like, of course. And this is the Pelham Waltz. Now, while the waltz is not a rag piece, it was popular back then, that genre of music. And they were popularized, and it's not classical, not considered classical music. It's a popular waltz. So let's take a look at her playing. Okay, so another piece that she wrote was called The Novelty Rag, And this was played on the traditional piano roll of 1911. And this artist is called artist. Let me get the correct name. I scroll down. Wodehouse. Okay. So very interesting about the piano rolls. Today, everything's digitized. You can get a piano with a device that will play it. And I understand that the rolls, the old rolls like these, don't really work if you're in a dry weather. So let's take a look at the information about the roll. This roll was created by putting holes into the roll paper directly from a straightforward transfer of note data from the notated sheet music. Before means were devised to capture human hand-played piano performances on a piano roll, music was created by this strictly mechanical transfer from published sheet music. And then it says Wodehouse, this is the performer, foot pumps through the roll, adding dynamics that were printed on the roll using her foot pumping and the manipulation of the central speed lever to affect dynamic contrast. Now, I had the opportunity once to try one, and maybe it wasn't as sophisticated as this one, but all it was like a little exercise. Your feet were going back and forth just to make the keys go. There was no dynamics or speed or anything, any kind of mechanism for that. So let's listen to how she does this, and it's pretty interesting. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's see, it goes back. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you get the idea, and I would say most of this music, if not all, can be found online for free. So a lot of times I'll put in the description how to find the music, and I'll put the link and everything there. So you can go ahead and print it out yourself and try it. Okay, so here is another one by Nancy Fierro is also playing this one. This is one of my favorites. It's called A Totally Different Rag. And I want you to listen for the influence. Not sure if Scott Joplin heard it first or she heard it, Scott Joplin's piece, but it sounds a lot like his piece Solace, especially near the end. When we get to the end section, you'll hear what I mean. So very chromatic. So let's listen to that piece a little bit. Okay, so there you hear that part that sounds like Solace. And please go to her site, as I said, and subscribe and like. And here is Dusty Rag, and this is Ethan Uslan. And he actually returned my message, and he said he welcomed his piece on our site. So I was really thrilled, and now I'm a fan of Ethan Uslan. So he's won a big contest, I think in one of the Ragtime contests. Don't quote me on it, but he's really great. So make sure you go to his site and subscribe and like. Okay, so let's go back and listen to the beginning of this again. So I invite you to go to his site as well and subscribe and like. He's really, really good. Concert ragtime player. Okay, let's take a look at another one that he did. This is also Ethan, and this is called The Thriller, written by May Afterheide. So again, go to his site. He has other pieces he plays that are ragtime, and other pieces. I think there's some that he's written as well. And this is one of my favorites. It's called Blue Ribbon Rag, and this is not played by a human. It's actually played digitally through something called MIDI, which is a musical interface digital. I don't remember what the other I is, but it's been around for a while, since at least the 80s. And what it does is there's two things it can do. You can print music from it. So if you have a computer application, so if you have a music notation program, you can print music from it. Also, you can have it transfer like an MP3 to a MIDI file, and then it will play back through a MIDI system. So it's not really used too much today. I think a lot of people have compiled a lot of MIDI files, but nowadays you do have the capability to take an MP3, for example, and then put it into print, where they didn't have that capability before. There's a application called piano2notes.com that does it. You do like a subscription service, and they will print out the music pretty close. Not, you still have to edit a lot. Same with the MIDI. Okay, so let's listen to Blue Ribbon Rag, and I might just do a tutorial of this one because I really like this one. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop it there. So please go to his site, Dorian Henry. Oops, sorry. And subscribe and like. I mean, this is a lot of work to make a MIDI file and to put it out there. So please go to this site and support him. Okay, so now we have some other information that's pretty interesting. Now, this was her father-in-law. So her husband was an architect, and he also worked under his father, who was a big-time architect in Indiana. So here are some of the works that he did. This is her father-in-law. So I just wanted to show you that her family was very artsy. This one doesn't have a picture. Let's see. Here's Fayette County, Indiana Courthouse. So this looks like something John Levy would report on. And I subscribe to all his information. I think he's right, whatever he's saying about these buildings. And here's Wayne County Courthouse in Indiana. And Weiser Street Depot. That one looks more modern. And here's Greenville Carnegie Library. And then the Christian church doesn't show up. So that gives you an idea of his work. And his son, who's her husband, when they moved to California, he was unable to find work for some reason as an architect after working for this man that made all these beautiful buildings. Kind of unusual, I thought. But anyways, different topic, different day. So this is her sister-in-law, Maud Egemeyer. So that's her husband's sister. She was a famous artist and kind of, I guess, the Impressionist style. So let's see. And also her cousin, I can't recall her name, but her cousin was a ragtime writer as well. The last name also after Haida. So I think it was Molly, maybe. Anyway, so that is another interesting thing. So here is another point of interest about Indiana, where she was based. And this has since disappeared. It's a music memory contest. I think this is a great idea. And I guess it was stopped in about 1972. But the kids would listen to all this music, on their phonographs. And then they'd try to remember what each one sounded like. And they took a little test. And then they'd get a certificate if they get, a certain percentage, I guess. And you can see it's all classical music. We need to bring that back. And here's some other artifacts from the same so she grew up in Indiana. So you can see these are the kids that won this contest. And it was a big deal because sometimes the orchestra would play the music, and then the kids had to learn the music. I guess by after the concert they would know, but it made them appreciate music more, especially classical music. So you can see here, all teams must be entered on Tuesday for school pupils, which is students, music memory contest. And look, they have the phonograph there. Anyway. And I think that is it. So, let's see if we can get back to my picture here. So I hope this comes through this time. I really was upset when it didn't work. See if we can get back to the big picture. All right. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Have a great evening.